how tired and ADD I am. I don't remember.
All right, so we've already started. Hey, and welcome to The Middle.
My name's Megan.
I'm Deborah.
And I'm Lance, and this is episode 2. If you've joined us for this one, you must be a glutton for punishment, or actually, maybe episode 1 actually was a thing. Today, we're going to continue our discussion of YA, or young adult, and we're going to start off with what Megan promised from the last episode. What about that website you were supposed to research and tell people about?
Okay, so if you are so inclined and want to know a little more details about what is in certain books, there is a website called commonsensemedia.org. You can leave reviews. What I like is that both adults and kids will review the titles, and that can vary wildly. Like, what the adults think about it is often not what the kids think about it. And so it's interesting to see the differing of opinion there. And some of the, even within the adults, like some are more conservative than others. But it does have like a breakdown of what kind of language is in it, like whether it's swear words or how much sexual content. It gives like specific examples of how many instances of this or that there are, so that you could then make an informed decision of like, okay, this is probably fine, or okay, maybe not. My kid's maybe not ready for this. Because honestly, that's not up to a librarian or bookseller. That's not our job.
Last episode, we were talking about how YA was this kind of nebulous agglomeration of all different genres, all different, whether it's fiction, nonfiction, biography, tractates, fantasy. There are little political, like, tractates in there as well. Like,
Tractate?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's basically a glorified sermon of one sort or another, whether it's religious or ideological. It's, this is how you be a good this thing, or this is how you be a good that thing.
Yeah, that's not on that website. So it's more just about language content, sexual content, violence, that sort of thing.
So it won't tell you if it's this is bad reasoning.
It won't
or
tell
this is
you, and it won't tell you if this is a communistic or
no, it's not going to say that at all. It's more
ideologies.
It's more just like the violence, sexual content, like swear words.
That would be helpful because it is frequently the parent's dollar that is purchasing a book, so they want to know if this is safe for 10-year-old little Emily.
And so, despite the fact that we all kind of feel like we beat the dead horse of YA last episode, there were a couple of things we didn't talk about. And this week in the store, we had Gretchen Schreiber, who is the author of Ellie Haycock is
Completely
normal.
I thought it was totally normal.
Totally normal. I always
remember.
put the wrong adverb in that. And then
Point is, she's
also
normal.
Stars Align.
All the Stars Align.
All
yeah.
the Stars Align is her second book.
Mm-hmm.
And so Debbie had the conversation with her this week. You can check it out.
It was really cool to talk with her, and she shared a lot of interesting things with us.
The video of that is on Middle Ground Books' Facebook page, so you can check that out if you want to look at our Facebook page. The sound is really awful, but there's still some really good content there if you can understand it, because it wasn't probably mic'd or any of those things. But when Debbie asked her the question, well, what's the difference between young adult and new adult, her response reminded me of Dr. Ruth.
She said, sex. It's basically sex. That YA, since it is frequently marketed towards the teenagers, and so we don't want to put that right out there in center stage in YA. So there's new adult rather than young adult if there are sex scenes in a book, which makes a lot of sense. And that's what Megan and I were sort of getting at last time. We just didn't want to outright say, it's all about sex.
And yeah, like the young adult, she kind of also mentioned like young adult is more about your first love and your first, like everything's new at that point.
It's a coming of age.
Yeah. Thing. And then with new adult, it's more like college kind of age. And then with adult fiction, you've been doing
Everything
this well.
goes.
Yeah.
But also, if you check out that video with our conversation with Gretchen, she also did talk about how you could subscribe and be part of a book that she is in the process of writing, and you can receive each chapter as it's coming out. And we have some cards in the store. If people are interested in that, you can stop by, and there's a QR code so that you can be on the ground floor of reading a new story. And it really sounds very interesting. It's set in a fantasy world and has to do with court intrigue. And yeah, so come on in and someone can help you get set up reading that.
Well, and one of the other things, going a little bit backwards, was when we talked about YA. One of the reasons why YA became what YA is had to do with how men kind of dominated the field in fantasy writing. So can you say more about that, Debbie?
Yeah, so Gretchen brought up the fact that in the past, fantasy was dominated by male authors, and if you were a female author writing in the fantasy genre, you kind of got forced into the YA age group.
Or even younger.
And now that's not as much a thing, and women are writing and selling books because a lot of it is marketing and what the publishers will do and what the public will buy. So now we are in a time in history, thankfully, where women authors are more prominent in the area of adult novels. So that's part of it, that female authors are sort of growing up into the new adult and adult age designations of fantasy. So we're happy to see that.
Well, and that was she talked a little bit about the legacy of Harry Potter. And there's a nonfiction book I really want to read called Harry Potter and the Global Marketing Phenomenon. It came out years ago, but I kind of want to go back just to read it because in a lot of ways, J.K. Rowling, and a lot of people dislike J.K. Rowling based on her socio-political views.
And I understand why people feel that way, but I feel like we should be mature enough to separate the author's political views from the body of her work. Yes. I hope.
Well, I think some people they don't want to give her more money kind of thing.
Right. But, I mean, you can check out those books from any library and not give her a cent and still enjoy the body of her work.
Well, and that comes back to, okay, there's cancel culture and then there's banning. So talking about YA, we were talking about that before we started this podcast. Hopefully we didn't lose all of our good thoughts while we were talking before. Okay, so banning, like Harris's work, eating people. Like,
okay,
I think,
explain what books you're talking about.
Like The Silence of the Lambs and kind of all those books where, like, the evil guy he's pretty evil. Eating people, to my mind, is objectionable. Like, I think that's problematic. I don't mean to be small-minded.
I think the majority of humans would agree with that.
The cannibalism is not really a good thing.
Right, unless you're a squid.
Yes. Yeah, having never been a squid.
We're not squids.
We're humans, not squids.
I mean, I don't want to put judgment on the squids either. Maybe that's perfectly fine.
If you're a squid.
If you're a squid. Any squids listening, happy to hear your thoughts on that whole matter.
Please like and comment below.
But Megan was saying that basically banning really has to do with sex first, foremost, and completely, like, Catcher in the Rye. Why is it banned? Sexual content. Like, just go down the list.
That was banned longer ago. So I'm talking about more modern.
What wasn't sexual?
Present. You're not
wasn't
talking modern.
Catcher in the Rye banned for sexual content?
It's been so many years since I've read it, but I think a lot of the reasons for it wasn't sexual. It was like he's since this was an older book, an older title, people clutched their pearls at a lot of things that now today we'd be like, whatever, you know?
Like how I feel about Rite of Spring. that there were literal riots when the first time the Rite of Spring was performed, and I listened to it, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of...
Give context, because you're not talking about a book. You're talking about...
a musical composition that the first time that the Rite of Spring was performed in Paris.
Year? In
the year, I don't know.
It's turn of the 20th century, like 1904 or something in that realm.
Yeah, and people threw riots, like literal riots.
They were appalled. Well, it's like that with a lot of like masterpieces of visual art that like people think are just complete amazing pieces of art, and at the time people were like horrified at it.
Yes.
So, like things change, you know.
Yeah. But you were saying presently the things that are being banned are about sexual content.
Well, but so during this regime, we've seen some titles become much more difficult to get, and we discovered that even in the last couple of days, we had a customer ask for some titles. I think it's called Prince of the Yen, and it has to do with the banking industry. Mm-hmm. And those titles aren't available in the United States. And the Quantum Publishers, who has those titles, they're not even available on Amazon right now. So Atwood and The Handmaid's Tale, 1984, we've heard murmurs about those books becoming more difficult to find.
The cookbook.
Yes, the cookbook is one that we've seen.
Yeah.
Anarchist cookbook, if you don't know what we're talking about when we say the cookbook.
Yes, so the Anarchist cookbook is I don't even know what to say about the Anarchist cookbook. It's...
yeah, you can't buy it.
Yeah.
We formerly had it in the store, but now we can't get it.
We had a copy for $29.99 in a hardback, and...
We sold several copies.
Yes, several copies, and now we can't get a hold of it anymore.
In the store on principle.
Although I don't consider myself an anarchist.
But the book that we sold for $29.99, 6 months ago, they were selling on Amazon for like over $300. The last that we saw. So I don't know if that's actual. Like, there's being.
I don't think it's not been banned in the traditional sense, like removed from libraries or schools, but
they're making it harder to get your hands on.
It seems the market is being manipulated. We are being very political. Let's move on.
But anyway, we are still talking about banning versus
book
banning, and
book banning is political.
What's
honestly,
the other the canceling? So there's ban culture and cancel culture, and they amount to kind of the same thing, pragmatically.
I think that what we wanted to get to with talking about banned books, because Banned Books Week is coming up, and please come into the store because you can buy our Banned Books t-shirts, and we will have many books available that have been banned in various places. But I think that what we were talking about was that it's counterproductive to ban books because that just raises interest and awareness of those titles. And I was talking about, when I was a teenager and my parents said, "Oh, you can't watch that," then instantly that's what I wanted to watch.
Whereas if they hadn't mentioned it, you probably wouldn't have I
wouldn't have cared. Yeah. But it's human nature to be interested in what has been prohibited.
Yeah. I mean, and especially when a lot of book bans happen in regards to children's books or in schools. They think that they're protecting kids, But honestly, if a kid wants to get a hold of a title, they'll probably find a way to do it. They're smart. They'll figure it out.
Well, and so banning, typically you think that as being a hierarchical thing that has to do with the government, has to do with these other things.
And it does sometimes, but it.
Whereas when you talk about cancel culture, I don't know if cancel culture is distinct. Cancel, because a lot of the bannings, especially if you talk about whether it's Kansas or Texas or all the places, you have bannings that happen locally because it's, for whatever reason, the local populace finds the content objectionable in one way or another. Cancel culture essentially is the same, ideologically or religiously driven, and in some senses, those two things aren't really distinct. the outcome is the same, whether it's, J.K. Rowling or Neil Gaiman, or you go down the list. And I'm not making any judgments on, and I'm not making comparisons between Rowling and Gaiman, etc. But for whatever reason, those books, or more accurately, the authors, come under scrutiny or come under criticism from specific segments of the populace. If a book is canceled, does the same thing happen? Like, a banned book typically sees a huge uptick in sales. Does a canceled book or a canceled author see the same uptick?
No. Not in my experience at the store. I feel like with people like Gaiman, like when all the accusations and things came out about him, people were not buying his books anymore. I mean, that's not true everywhere and all the time, but like, we don't move them as quickly. I've noticed.
For sure, yeah.
So I think it's different. Whether you agree with that or not, it is, I guess.
It's definitely different, but it's hard to explain or put your finger on what the difference is.
Right.
We are being very serious.
We really are.
This is not like us.
I know, I don't like it. It's kind of bumming me out.
We're going to move on.
Let's talk about something funny.
Yes, well, or at least something different. So we talked about last time, YA is kind of all about coming of age, your first, all this other stuff, and new adult as being YA, and now we know YA plus sex. So
becomes new adult.
Well, and it's not to say, it's not to say there's absolutely zero, nothing at all sexual in any young adult book ever.
Right.
That is not the case.
It's a very squishy distinction.
Yes. Well, and a lot of times you do start to be interested in that as a young adult, like as a teen. That's, hormones be hormones. And so that's a thing you're thinking about.
I think part of also what the people who jump on the banned books bandwagon are upset about is that now there are lots of YA and even middle grade books being written about same-sex attraction, and that's what they get all upset about.
Yes, that's another reason a lot of things are banned.
It's not like sex in general. It's about
sexuality as well.
Sexuality as far as like girls being attracted to girls, boys being attracted to boys. So those are the ones that are getting banned, I think.
Yes.
And because whereas the ones that are just sexually explicit, they're being pushed into the new adult category, but they're not like being banned necessarily.
Yes and no. There are YA titles that even though the sexual content is very minimal, because it's not like they're going into a lot of graphic detail in a YA book about anything sexual. Like, a lot of times it's pretty, it's not something that's really in depth, and they're describing like you would in a romance novel. So it's different. Like, they might talk about it, but they're not getting into
a bedroom scene.
Yes. Yeah. But they still will get it banned because it has anything sexual. Like, they don't. And I'm like, I'm sorry, your average high school student, like, they know what sex is. I'm sorry, they do. Like, they're not gonna.
Especially in today's social media, internet-based world, when parents are literally giving smartphones to kids who are 8.
Right.
They're being exposed to that stuff.
Yes. So that's why I'm like,
So banning books is pointless, because they can, even if you take that book out of their library, take that book out of wherever, they're going to find that content if they want it.
Yes.
Well, and simply put, especially for young males, the book is far less inviting than lots of other things that you
Visual
can find on the internet.
Yeah.
But we're going to leave this now, and we are going to close the chapter on YA. I think we have now beaten this dead horse soundly. We're going to talk at the end of this, even though we are at 21 minutes. We're going to go a little long. Yeah, we are. We have, when we talk to one another, time flies.
It really does.
Because we hardly ever talk to each other. So this is kind of a treat for us.
I talk to you daily.
If you guys are along, that's awesome. But we are going to talk about, if you hear our voices and think any of us are 17, You need to get your hearing checked at the very least. And I think Debbie talked about how we're not coming of age anymore. In terms of firsts, we're probably jaded and cynical in many regards.
I still haven't been skiing, and I really want to. And you two are
So
like,
you still have some
no.
firsts. You still have some
things
firsts.
I want to have a first, and you guys are like, we'll sit in the lodge and you can ski.
You know, I've never broken a bone. So
I haven't and don't want to do it again. I don't want to do it again.
We can do
not
that
fun.
together.
0 stars. Do not recommend. Don't do it.
I may have broken some ribs. I'm not sure.
So
That's unpleasant too.
anyway, we are not coming of age anymore. We are, perhaps
We're
old
grown.
souls, and
We're
perhaps
grown.
our body is has gone along. So we're not young. We're not old soul. We're not young anymore.
We're not new adults.
There are firsts that we probably still have,
Like skiing.
like skiing or going to Dubai and buying a watch.
Climbing the Alps.
Or playing an Alpenhorn like that. Like
Visiting
that.
Australia.
Having an appendectomy.
I don't know that anyone can live long enough to have every experience ever, though. So there's always going to be some first of some kind.
Right, of course.
But
Even if you live to be 97.
We are of age, though. Is
so
the
YA,
point.
yes.
YA aside, we're going to talk about now what we're reading at present.
Okay.
And then we're going to give a little bit, we're going to start the discussion for market, because market is what drives the entire world of books. If there's not money to be made, you can
Right.
forget about the book.
Right. You can have a wonderful story with wonderful characters, but if you cannot get a publishing house to be interested,
You're screwed.
right. I mean, the same
so-
thing with if you write a wonderful screenplay and you can't get a producer, you're not going to have a film.
But going back to what we're reading now, Debbie, and I need to put some brackets in here. Reading and listening, since we are very, very busy with running a bookstore and having full-time jobs. In addition, we read much less than we'd like to. As a family, we're reading Falling and Uprising by Natalie Camerata. She's going to be in the store this week on the 26th.
Friday
the 26th. We're kind of excited about it. We've been enjoying the book. It is a dystopian science fiction romance, which that just rolls off the tongue.
It's got a lot going
Anytime
on.
you've got like 13 syllables in the description.
But every book crosses genres.
yeah. I mean,
really.
'cause,
It just
that's
depends
why-
how you classify it.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun. So that is one we have been reading. But what are you reading, Debbie?
So I'm not going to give any specific titles, but reflecting as we've had this YA discussion, I realized that I've been reading a lot of books that are about older adults who are thinking about, okay, what is the meaning of life now? And what brings joy now? And that makes a lot of sense because, we are empty nesters. We're starting a new business. I started basically a new career, I would say 3 or 4 years ago. So, yeah, that life is not over just because you're not a new adult. And there are still things to do.
Although
Life
we're
doesn't
still
end when you're-
excited about sex.
Life doesn't end when you're 30. Okay. I thought we were trying to keep this family friendly, guys.
We just got banned and possibly canceled.
I was just saying that, like, you see, even within some of the adult stuff, like, a lot of them, then they're maybe in their 30s. But then you get beyond that, and it's like, there's, like, nothing for a while.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, so, like, some people are like,
There was a Golden Girls mystery called Death by Cheesecake.
Okay, but literally lots of books that I've read lately have had older protagonists or at least older characters. So I'm so bad at remembering titles, but I read a book about
that also depends on the genre, probably.
I read a book about a women's book club, and it had women from a range of ages. And I'm reading The Thursday Murder Club, which is older adults.
Yeah.
And I just finished a book about 3 siblings who all, for one reason or another, in their 70s were starting over with life. And and that was a good one that I literally finished yesterday. So there's lots of books out there. There was also one it's on my TBR, and I saw it in the store again, and I was like, oh yeah, I was going to read that one that has a picture of an older couple dancing. I can't think of the title.
Heart of Winter or something like that.
Yeah. So there are more and more books coming out.
I'm not saying that those aren't there. I'm talking about within. So I tend to read fantasy fiction. Almost all the protagonists in that are in their 20s at the most.
Okay,
so
but Hemlock and Silver, the main character, was in her 30s.
That's true.
But that's a very good book. I really enjoyed that one.
I liked that one too. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, pick it up. It's one of our...
We need to talk about it, I guess.
Highlighted
now that
books.
you finished it.
It's one of our highlighted books for the month of September. So they are out there, and I appreciate that. I also really enjoy reading biographies about, biographies are usually written later in life when a person has experienced many, many things. So I enjoy those as well. Okay, someone else. What are you reading now? Or listening to?
I am listening to Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross.
I love Rebecca Ross. I'm glad you're listening to it. Tell us about it.
Okay, I didn't know you'd read her before. Okay.
Yes, she wrote River Enchanted and Fire Endless.
Oh, yeah, okay. So I'm reading her new one. It's I don't think it's young adult, even though it's set in the same kind of...
No, Gretchen said yesterday that it's meant to be new adult.
Yes.
Okay.
So but it's set in the same world as some that have been young adult. Like it's like a prequel to that. So I like mythology, so I've been enjoying it so far because it has a lot of this pantheon of gods and goddesses, and it's not like it's not like it's based in Greek or any sort of it's sort of a different thing altogether. But it's set in that world that YA duology, I think. I don't know if there's going to be a third one. But there's at least 2 that she's written that's a young adult series that I have not read that one, but it's in my TBR. It's a very long TBR. But anyway, this one I started listening to, so it's dealing with a lot of their the mythos, I think, that's behind those 2 books in that young adult series, but it's geared more towards adults. I don't know. It's kind of interesting that it's a new adult.
It's supposed to be a new adult, yeah.
But as I'm earlier on right now, and so the protagonist right now is still quite young, so I think it's going to be following through her life, as she grows up. But at this point, it's early on, and she's still quite young. But it's interesting, the magic in it and the pantheon is different, and so it's kind of interesting. But I like mythology, so it's held my attention so far.
And we do have this book in the store, so come on down if you want to buy it. What about you, sir? What are you reading?
In terms of reading, Falling and Uprising is what I'm reading to you guys, and that's the book by Natalie Camerata. She's going to be in the store this week, so we really want to have her book finished by that time. There's 2 books I've been listening to. One is the New York Times Guide to Essential Guide to Cocktails. It's different than you expect.
I wouldn't think that would be fun to listen to.
You wouldn't think, especially as an essential guide to cocktails.
So it's not like a recipe book.
There are recipes in it, but it is an anthology, so it is basically groupings of different articles about cocktails from a myriad of different authors who have been in the New York Times. And it's more about cocktail culture. It's more about gatherings. It's more about friends. There's a little bit about the history of cocktails, where they've come from, the Harvey Wallbanger. Have you ever heard of the Harvey Wallbanger?
I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever sampled
Harvey who?
Yeah, it is to actually get the booze involved. I don't think there's a liquor store in Emporia that has the ingredients for a Harvey Wallbanger, and it was the quintessential 1970s
I've
cocktail.
heard of it, but I don't know why.
What are the ingredients?
I didn't care.
Okay. So then how come you're saying you don't think you can get them in Emporia?
Because they were bizarre.
Okay.
And, it's not Michelob. No, that's not fair. We can get a lot of... Oh, there's a button for that. There it is.
Okay.
There are a lot... We have great liquor stores here.
But they're more unique ingredients that
Well,
you're
and
not
it's-
in your every cocktail. Like it's a unique
Okay,
kind of
but
weird
you were saying
thing.
it was very popular in the 70s.
Yeah,
So
if
who
you
is
walked
Harvey
into a
and
bar-
why is it was it popular in
If
the
you
70s?
walked into a bar and ordered a Harvey Wallbanger, you're probably 67 years old. Like, for reals.
So if we went to Arnie's, they might be able to do it for us.
They would have no idea.
Okay, so tell
how to
us
make
more.
it.
Who is Harvey?
No, I'm going to skip that and move on to talking about the book. So they talk about how there are different eras, like cocktails fall into fashion, fall out of fashion.
that's
They
with
talk
anything.
a lot about like mint juleps, and there's a fair bit about like COVID and how COVID changed everything. And
What did it change in cocktails?
well, it killed the cocktail culture in many of the larger.
Well, because you couldn't go out and get a cocktail during COVID.
Exactly, and a lot of people ended up starting home bars and embracing a life of alcoholism.
I feel like that was probably happening well before COVID, though.
Well, I
Sad,
bet,
but true.
but COVID helped it along.
I mean, I can see that, yeah.
But anyway, talked about how the cocktail culture was about, this is ironic since we're book people and introverts. Most of us would think of like an intimate gathering of 20 people not being an intimate gathering and being nothing
many
that
people.
we would want to be a part of. But they talk about, in the book, it just talks about how the gatherings changed. And there's a lot of memoir kind of interwoven with people's personal experience on cocktails and how our tastes change over time, that when you're young, there are certain things that you think are the greatest ever. And then as you age, you just determine that those things were horrible and come to new tastes.
I mean, I feel like that happens with food, too. Like, there are things that I didn't like when I was younger that I like now, so...
Like chicken nuggets?
That's the point, though. You grow up.
Yeah, and that kind of meshes with what we're talking about in terms of what we're eating now, and also how the market changes, how we as adults have tastes. So the New York Times Essential Guide to Cocktails, I would probably say, yeah. I don't know, like as a listen book, like a Libro FM book, I enjoy it. It's like a podcast. It's in the background. Lots of different authors, lots of different takes on lots of different cocktails. I don't know if I would enjoy just sitting and reading it. The other one I am also listening to right now is The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, and I think that is by Allie Carter, but I'm going to double check. It is by Allie Carter. It is the second book in the series, of which I have not read the first.
How's that going for you? Are
to
you
read the first, or is it making sense?
It is making sense, and
Okay.
it is a spy romance novel.
Ooh.
So,
Ooh la la.
espionomance.
So is it is the sexual content a YA or a new adult or an adult?
I read it I listened to it while I was mowing the lawn. And
Hey,
Really
it
erotic.
didn't make it difficult for me to walk.
I can't believe you just said that. I'm so embarrassed right now.
Maybe we won't put this online.
Please edit this out, maybe Steve.
Maybe
Thank you.
Anyway, the book, it's so I'm not a big one for overwrought. Like it is like, in a lot of ways, like the character's backstory is a little overwrought. The characters are a little bit overwrought.
What do you mean? There's too much detail?
No, I mean like we all have our personal tragedies, and we all have things that bend us and
Tragic
break us.
backstories.
Yeah, we have things, and we normally keep those things kind of dialed down, at least here in the Midlands.
Okay, but isn't it part of the characterization to share those things? I'm still not getting what you mean by saying that it's overwrought.
when feelings are overwrought, we typically say that it's sentimental.
Or she's a drama queen.
Or it's melodramatic.
Okay.
I think action can actually be overwrought. Like when it's like, okay, this is over the top. This is like, no. This
unbelievable. Like no one would believe that would actually happen.
Yeah.
And yet, people still go to movies like that. And watch it.
Yeah, is there any movie that isn't like that, honestly? Like that would actually never happen. Sorry.
Yes, it's a spy book. So yeah, of course it's got unbelievable stuff.
And it's kind of it is a romance at the same time. So
but don't you think that when you read a spy book, you expect it to be somewhat...
Well, and it's enemies to lovers sort of thing.
Of course it is.
The main character, Alexandra, who goes by Alex, and her love interest, Michael Kingsley, they hate each other. He's
of course
like
they do.
A scion of like...
So you're saying it's a trope?
I haven't actually read enough romance to know what the tropes are.
Well, enemies to lovers is a trope.
Definitely.
Like it's a common theme in a lot of romance novels.
Oh, I hate him so much. No, really, I love him.
Well, they wake up handcuffed to one another.
Yeah.
And then have to
Okay, never mind.
Well, I've heard some people who read a lot of...
They wake up handcuffed to one another in Las Vegas.
Okay, in a prison or in a hotel room?
It was
changes the dynamic.
A little
really
shack with a couple of Russian guys.
What?
Outside of Las Vegas.
Okay, no, I'm not interested in that. Thanks.
So, I mean, they talk about tropes a lot with romance, especially because there's, the enemies to lovers, and there's second chance romance where, like, maybe they were their first crush, and then they, years later reconnect and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of romance tropes that,
for sure.
But some people, like, they find one and they love it. But I've heard some people complain about the enemies to lovers one, that they're like, it's not enemies enough. Like, it's like they just dislike each other, and that's not enough. Like, you want them to, like,
you want it to be
truly
serious
hate one another. Like, they cannot stand one another. They absolutely hate one another. And, like, in the setting of a romantasy, they're like, I want them to actively, like, want to kill each other and, like, be
like
at
have
war.
a sword fight.
Yeah.
And
then be in love. Like, that's what they want.
Okay.
Well, but
I mean,
especially with
to each their own.
And this is in the book. I think this is one thing that is interesting. So I assume Alec Carter is a woman. Like, that is my assumption. But with pseudonyms, we can't take too much for granted.
We don't know for sure.
But the guy, so the book is told from his perspective, her perspective, his perspective.
Is it a dual narration or duet narration? Like, they have two different narrators for each?
You mean in terms of Libro FM?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have a male guy who talks for King.
A male guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like
two
that.
narrators.
I like
yes.
having multi-narrators. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, and she is always just talking about how much she hates him, resents him, and how much he doesn't think she's worthy, etc. And he just talks about how beautiful she is and how he doesn't want her to
That's
get
another
hurt.
that's another trope, that he falls first.
Well, and it's not even so much that he falls first. He just doesn't want her to get killed. He wants her to have a good life, even if it's nothing to do with him.
He doesn't have the animosity that she has, apparently.
Well, but it sounds like she doesn't even have animosity towards him. She just thinks he doesn't like her.
Well, and it's even more that she doesn't. She thinks that he thinks that she's not good enough. And so
I get that.
Okay,
I want to read it now.
And there's...
Why are you laughing at me?
There's quite a bit of kissy, huggy, bodies.
I like kissing.
And their bodies, all of his body pressed into all of her body and that kind of stuff.
I don't need to read all that.
And she was sweating, but it was because it was humid. And,
Ew.
And
no.
so it's a pop-up
Okay,
book.
sorry. I'm very sorry. There are people who really enjoy that, and that's great. And I would have to admit that I did read those at a point in my life, but now, not so much.
Yeah, I think the book is...
it's probably good for the people who are at the point that that's what they want/need. So, great.
And I think the book is I suppose it's well written. Like I'm not I haven't read romances in the sense of romance, like A Tale of Two Cities and Cyrano de
So why
Bergerac.
did you start this? Did you
those
know it
usually
was a
aren't considered romance?
Because my friend is big into spy novels, and I thought, oh, this is supposed to be a spy novel. It's
It's a romance with a spy component.
kind of a spy novel. I think it's. To be honest, I haven't read many spy novels either. To be perfectly fair.
Okay.
I mean, I've watched a lot of spy movies, but I'm trying to think if I've read any spy.
I mean, what does a
novels.
lot of spy movies like? What does that mean? Like,
there's
you were like me that
the Bourne series. They would be a spy novel.
Bond movies.
I watched
I'm
all
talking
of the
about
007
novels,
movies
though.
that were on CBS when I was 8.
I didn't watch any Bond movies.
I've seen the Bond movies.
I think I've seen a total of 2.
But, I mean, the Bond movies always have some, like, sexy lady
Bow
in it.
chicka
and
wow.
They're
Right, but
always
there's-
hooking
it's
up.
not like really a romance, though.
No.
It's just like it's very shallow. Sorry for Bond fans. I'm sorry. He seems very shallow in his relationships.
I mean, it's a different girl every
Right,
book
exactly.
or movie, depending if you're reading or
It
watching.
was
Right.
a different time.
But that doesn't. But what I'm okay.
So anyway, those are the two I'm listening to.
And maybe that could be the difference between a spy novel written by a woman versus a spy novel written by a man. They're going to have a different look at what the romance factor is, like a James Bond novel versus this one that sounds a little more romance.
There are men who are committed to a long-term relationship.
Yeah, but I'm saying books written by men, the romantic aspects of it
Will
are
not
going to
be
be
as highly
very
developed.
different. Yeah,
It won't
very
be.
different than a woman.
You have the emotional compass of a teaspoon.
Yes, Hermione.
All right. So
I think we've been rambling for
Yeah.
quite
we
some time.
have
Far
gone
too long.
like
Way
2
over.
times what we normally do in a podcast.
Really?
And
Normally, this is the second one.
Probably,
Third.
Steve, you may have to cut a lot out of this.
Maybe,
and,
Steve, we're counting on you.
Wow.
And so next time we will
Once
talk.
we even know what his name is, are we going to keep calling him possibly Steve?
Maybe.
Maybe Steve, probably Steve, like
Possibly Steve.
possibly Steve.
Could be Steve.
And for all of
Perhaps
you,
Steve.
and if you actually managed to listen to this whole thing, I commend you.
We will give you a cookie. Come in the store and say, "Hey, I want my free cookie." We'll be like, "You listen to the end."
I will even, like, I think we can, even if you're not in our area, we will mail you a little, some kind of a certificate.
Mail you a cookie.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
I like cookies.
Yeah. I don't, yeah. For the, first 20 people who actually listen to the end of this.
Okay.
The whole thing.
Okay, time to wrap it up.
Yes. So next week, our next episode, we'll be talking about a little bit about market and authors and what things are like. And you're making a squinchy face at me.
I don't want to talk about the market.
Oh, we do talk about the market because
I don't want to.
It's an
Let's
important
talk
thing.
about Halloween.
Can we talk about fun stuff like the market and
Let's
like book
talk about
banning? Like, that's
Halloween.
bumming
All
me
right,
out.
we'll talk about Halloween and the midnight market. So until next
Midnight
time, this has been...
I'm Megan.
Deborah.
And I'm Lance. Thanks for meeting us in the middle. We'll see you next time.
Hey, I'm Megan from Middle Ground Books. Thanks for listening to Middle Ground Books After Hours with me, Deborah, and Lance. If you're in Emporia, stop in and see us at 606 Commercial Street. Browse books and other fun stuff, sip some tea, and just enjoy the bookshop vibes. Middle Ground Books After Hours is produced and remotely engineered by Cosmic Atom Sound Studios, producing the vision and making it sound. Cosmic Atom Sound Studios. Let's come together and build something new. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, we'll meet you in the middle.